All right, so doing the third edition. This will be just a review of Loudon and a preview of Dover. So this will be again things. I guess at least in the Loudon race went more along the way people expected it to go. No big crashes of any of the chasers. Kind of pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, there weren't nearly as many cautions as I was expecting.
Well, I guess this year might be a little more predictable, at least until we get to Talladega.
Yeah, I don't.
That takes the fun out of it. I don't know. I will say this. I was hoping that this chase was going to be a little bit more exciting, maybe see a few new faces rise up that we didn't expect, but that's just
Yeah,
not
not yet.
happening.
It's still like, the Gibbs cars in Harvick. It's like it has been most of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a boring race. I mean, the fall Loudon races are usually pretty crazy, and this one was not. But maybe that just means that Dover is going to be crazy. I don't know.
Well, I remember from a couple years ago how exciting Dover was because all the drivers were within, even the guys like at the bottom, like I think Almirola was in 16th at that time. He was only 10 points out. So it was anybody's game at that point.
Yeah.
We all remember, and a lot of drama. I remember from that race. I think that was the one that Gordon won in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it was it was basically a crapshoot between Kurt Busch, Casey Kane, Allmendinger, a few others for that last 12th spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think Dover sucks generally, so I'm not expecting anything really exciting. But I
Oh,
don't know.
last year was pretty much a letdown. It was just Harvick dominating the entire race.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean it would have been that the year before that if he didn't have a tire go down.
Yeah.
So hopefully we don't see a repeat of that.
Yeah. Well, with Harvick already winning Loudon, I don't really see the point, but
Yeah, I don't know.
all right, so we'll just start off again from the bottom 16 up. In 16th, just again, so unsurprisingly, 30 points out is Busher. I think he finished 30th in this one, 2 laps down. I actually thought he was going to do better at Loudon than he did at Chicagoland. I was wrong about that. Now he pretty much needs he either needs some kind of miracle win in the rain, or he just needs the other the other 4 drivers in front of him to crash out while he finishes in the top 10.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's done.
yeah, but he could have again. He's good on concrete tracks. I think people forget that.
Well,
Top
yeah, but I mean,
5.
he has to win though. It's not like he has to run
I know.
good. He has to win this. I mean, the 3 guys in front of him aren't all going to wreck.
I know.
So
Yeah. He's only got, and he doesn't have much experience. Just one start in his Sprint Cup career at Dover. It was an 18th place finish back in the spring. He's done good. Again, I keep saying this, he'll be better for the years to come. I think Dover will eventually become one of his better tracks. He did really good there in the Nationwide series, though. I mean,
yeah,
I keep making that mistake. It's Xfinity now. It's not Nationwide.
it's the Busch series.
I'm still lost. I am still lost. I cannot call it Xfinity.
Yeah, I think he'll be. I mean, once Roush Fenway stops like completely sucking and being the worst Ford team out there. Well, I don't know, other than maybe like Furniture Row, or Front Row, not Furniture Row. Yeah, then he can be pretty good. But right now, like Roush, I mean, the last 3 years, Roush has been kind of terrible.
Stenhouse really hasn't. Yeah, everyone kept putting up a big hype about Stenhouse taking the 17. Look how that's turned out.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think Bush is actually like the most talented guy out of kind of the Roush and Roush alliances, but their equipment is so terrible. I mean, they're so slow everywhere that it's just.
Well,
I don't know.
pretty much all Ford right now. Even Penske's been pretty disappointing. Yeah, Keselowski could have been better, even though he had 4 wins.
Yeah, I mean, two of them are restrictor plates, so
Yeah,
I
exactly.
typically don't even count those as far as
And
team performance goes.
then Logano, not exactly. He's been struggling this
Yeah,
year,
they're not as hot as they've been the past 2 years for sure.
definitely. But I was gonna go over his nationwide stats anyway. He does have 1 win. Oh, Xfinity. Oh my God. Four starts, 1 win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. Average finish is 6th there. Like I said, I think he's capable of getting a top 15, but he's gonna need the other cars to magically wreck. He's gonna need like a top 10, and then he's gonna need
I mean,
Kyle
he's gonna
Larson.
need a lot. He's like what, 30 points out?
Yeah, he's gonna need Kyle Larson to wreck early. He's probably gonna need Tony Stewart and he's gonna need McMurray and Dylan to wreck, and he's gonna need Stewart. Just to have another really awful day, but one in which he finishes in the 30s. So
That's possible. And
yeah,
Tony Stewart, I could definitely see him finishing 3 laps down
yeah,
just to be slow.
Yeah, I'll get to the next one. Stewart, I have to go back. What was his finish at Loudon? He was 1 lap down, 22nd. Wow.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Wait. No, it wasn't 22nd. I think it was. No, it was 23rd. 1 lap down. First car a lap down.
Yeah, at a track that he finished second at in the summer. So that is a very bad omen. Like all the tracks they ran well at, they suck at now, which means they're kind of screwed. Really, I don't see him making it past Dover.
Yeah, he's 11 points behind the 12th point cutoff spots.
Yeah, he's pretty much going to have to win. Also,
I don't know if he needs a win. I think he needs a top 10, and he needs a top 5.
But he's going to need Larson, McMurray, and Dillon to wreck pretty much.
Well, he doesn't need a wreck. He just needs them to have very poor performances. Maybe all of them have to finish a lap down. I don't see Larson doing that, although you never know with Larson.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, if there was ever a track he was going to do well at, it would have been Loudon, and it just didn't come together for him. And I think it goes back to what you were saying a couple weeks ago. He hasn't shown the speed, and he wasn't showing up the speed before the chase started, and he never really made it to that threshold.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you just magically find speed one weekend. Most teams build up to it over the course of like half a season or something.
Yeah, he's just kind of going from race to race rather than having a stable plan.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's a damn shame. I was hoping that he would make it, last full-time season, like with Gordon, I was kind of hoping he would make it last, but
I don't know. It'd be kind of hilarious if like Ryan Scott takes him out in Dover, or Ryan Newman. It'd be great.
Might as well.
Anyone that he's pissed off over the past 20 years, which is probably everyone.
It would only make sense if he was in the top 5 at the moment, and he was at least in a position to make up the points. But he does have, again, this is one of his better tracks to Dover. 34 starts, 3 wins. He swept in 2002, and he got another one in 2000. He got another win in 2005. He has 11 top 5s. I'm sorry, he swept there in 2000 and then got another win in 2013. I don't think he won in 2005. Maybe he has 4 wins. Hold on. I may have had my stat sheet wrong.
Yeah, what is this, amateur hour?
Yeah.
I got an echo.
Wait, what?
I'm echoing.
Oh, you're not echoing. I'm not hearing that.
Well, wait, okay.
Yeah, if I fucked with it. I know he swept 2000 and he got a win in 2013. I do not know if he got.
Let's just pretend that he has 4. We'll just say it was 2005.
No.
Although it was probably Jimmy Johnson in 2005.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's 3. It's 3 wins.
Okay.
2000 and 2013. 11 top 5s, 17 top 10s. That means half of his starts at Dover are top 10s.
Yeah.
His average finish is 14.1, which actually is, again, it's one of the better ones you're actually going to find among the active chasers. Do I expect a top? Do I expect a top 10? I don't think a top 10, and I don't think he's going to make it. But I think
No.
he'll finish 12th or 13th. It'll probably be one of his better. It'll probably be
Yeah.
one of his better starts throughout the chase.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't see it. I mean, they the only track. I mean, they had their win at Sonoma, and they had that second place at New Hampshire. But outside of that,
He had a good finish at Pocono, but that was in the rain.
yeah, yeah, it's true. But I mean, that's three races on Pocono. Yeah, I mean, you just like they haven't been consistent whatsoever. When they weren't running, like other than those races, they've run like 25th. So I don't see him somehow latching on to something at Dover and advancing. I think they're done.
All right, that's a damn shame for Tony. The next one, this one, interesting stats here. It's 14th, only 5 points behind is Austin Dillon, but this is one of his worst tracks. 6 starts, no wins, top fives or top tens. No top tens in his 6 starts, and his average finish is 26.7. 26.7.
Yeah, so he's obviously going to be a real threat Sunday.
No, I think he sucks at concrete tracks.
I think he just sucks like at most tracks. He's got like two or three that he's all right at.
He's just good. He's just good enough to be that driver in 13th or 14th that's able to get into the chase.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
I guess for him, it's thank God Brian France extended the cut. Extended the field to 16. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made it this far.
Yeah, I don't. Same thing with Tony Stewart. Really, they haven't been near fast enough all year long. He's had 2 or 3 races where he's been promising, I guess, but other than that, they've been like a 10th to 15th place car just about everywhere they go. Yeah, and especially like going to a track like Dover, where historically he's terrible. I just don't see it happening.
So we've already pretty much established that we don't expect the guys in 14th through 16th to make it. The guy in 13th is also 5 points back, Jamie McMurray. Hold on, I don't think we mentioned how did Dylan do at New Hampshire? Because I thought he was doing pretty good up until a certain point, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Well, I think everyone was probably doing well up until a certain point in New Hampshire.
He finished 16th on the lead lap.
Yeah, that doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really bode well. I mean, they don't have any momentum. They don't have any speed.
That's kind of been the problem for Childress really for the last 2 years. I mean, even with Newman, it's.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ryan Newman wasn't even fast that year. He just was lucky.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's done.
I think Childress is really starting to feel the pain of losing Kevin Harvick.
Yeah. Wow. Whose fault is that?
Childress.
Well, what did Harvick say about Ty Dillon?
He wasn't really a big fan of the Dillons. He didn't like how Childress was opening up the team to a lot of the younger guys.
He had a phrase that he used, like I don't remember, something like "stuck up grandkids" or whatever. I don't remember.
Stuck up kids, something like that.
Yeah.
It's true about the Dillons.
Yeah, no, agree.
Speaking of that, Ty Dillon, he had some trouble at the Kentucky Xfinity race. I finally called it Xfinity. That was all Eric Jones's fault, though. If you saw that wreck.
Yeah.
Don't really care if.
Where's their next race? Las Vegas?
No. That's the truck race at Vegas. The truck race is at Vegas. Xfinity is also at Dover.
Okay. But that's only the second race of their chase.
Yeah.
Okay.
So McMurray, I think was in the top 10 for some time, but he fell back to 19th.
Yeah, he ran all right. I think he was like hovering around 10th place for a lot of the race.
Pretty much like he did at Chicagoland. What exactly? I don't remember actually what pushed him back to 19th. Was it a bad?
I think it was just like inside line on the restart. A couple of those last restarts.
Just unlucky with the shuffling.
Yeah.
But his stats at Dover are, I mean, it's better than most of the tracks he runs at in this Challenger round.
Yeah.
27 starts, no wins, but he's got two top fives. One of them was last year's fall Dover race when he finished fourth in the battle against Junior, which he lost for that 12th place position. He's got 7 top tens, which is pretty respectable, and his average finish is 17.4. Do I think he's going to get 12th this time? Nah. I mean, I think he can. It wouldn't surprise me if he got a top 10. I just don't see him beating out Larson. I see Larson as. I mean, not only does Larson have that 5-point bubble, I think he's probably going to get the spot by around 10, by about 9 or 10 points. I can see Larson with the top 5.
Yeah, McMurray's going to need somebody to have a problem, simply because he's 10 points behind Larson, so
He's 5 points behind Larson.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I say that Larson's going to beat him for that 12th spot ultimately by 10 or 11 points.
Yeah, and then Kurt Busch is 15 points ahead of him, so that pretty much means somebody's going to need to have a problem. I don't think he's going to really get in on speed unless he wins, but I don't predict that. So I don't know. I mean, he could advance though. Like he's obviously got the best shot
out of like the guys.
He's really going to need. He really is going to need somebody to have a problem.
But like the guys who are outside the top 12 now are pretty much the people we expected to be outside the top 12.
Yeah,
except for I actually expected Kurt Busch to be outside the top 12. We'll obviously get to that in a minute with his great performance at Loudon. All right, we'll finally get to the 12th place cutoff point, which is occupied by Kyle Larson, 10th place finish at Loudon. Obviously, I mean, you said you were nervous last week. How about now?
As long as nothing goes wrong, I mean, like as long as he doesn't have a mechanical failure or gets wrecked, I think he'll be fine.
So pretty confident at this point.
I mean, I'm sure he'll run well. He runs well at Dover, like every time he goes there. And not only that, but he had a shot to win it earlier this year. So I think he'll be probably a top 5 car. Like I said, but you never know. I mean, he could have, loose wheel or something and have to come in for a pit stop under green. Any one of those kind of things can happen, and then he's out of it. So,
are you less nervous this week than you were last week?
Probably just because he's better at Dover than he is at New Hampshire.
Yeah. He only has stats. Maybe not might not tell the best story because he's only got 5 starts there. No wins, 2 top 5s, one of them earlier this year. And I think the other one was in 2014 fall race, if I remember correctly.
No, it was last year's spring race. I think he was like 4th or 5th. Actually, I think he was 3rd. But
yeah. And 4 of his 5 starts have ended up in the top 10. His average finish is 6.2. That's if he can at least keep up the top 10s. I mean, it's hard to really have a constant average finish within the top 10, below 10, over several years. I mean, it's easy to do that maybe in the first few years of your career, but maybe 5 years from now, if you can keep that going,
yeah,
you could probably make Dover one of the tracks he's mastered. A master track for.
I wouldn't mind seeing that, although I still hate Dover, but I don't know. I really do see like it seems odd to me that nobody has really had any major issues up until now. None of the chasers anyway, because that's unlike the past 2 years. The first 2 races in 2014 and 2015, a lot of people had problems, like big problems, getting wrecked out and stuff. Whereas this year that hasn't happened yet, so I kind of makes me think like Dover is actually going to be kind of crazy.
I was going to mention one more thing. His performance at Loudon was pretty consistent, if I remember. Like he was just kind of hovering. He was pretty much around the top 10 all day before he finished in 10th.
Yeah, they had a lot of problems. Like. I don't know. I think he was just like really, really loose in for most of the race, and they never really seemed to fix it. Not only that, but he got stuck on the inside for probably 3/4 of the restarts that race. So, that's why he kept getting shuffled back. I think he had the speed to be, fifth or sixth at best. He just didn't really have the right place on the restarts.
11th place, 15 points ahead. We already mentioned Kurt Busch. Just really came out of nowhere to finish fifth in that one. A lot of it had to do with restarts.
Yeah.
Towards
but Kurt Busch is actually pretty good at Dover, if I remember correctly.
It's
one of his best tracks, probably.
That's debatable, and I'll get into the stats later because he's got a lot of DNFs at Dover. That's his problem. 32 starts, 1 win, which was back in 2011. It was actually impressive because he overtook Jimmy Johnson on the last restart to win that one.
Yeah.
7 top 5s and only 9 top 10s. But out of 32 starts, that's not very impressive. Average finish 17.6. Not even McMurray has a better average run at Dover than Kurt Busch. But I think with when you're up by 15 points, I think that's a pretty comfy cushion, unless of course something goes wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like Jimmy Johnson last year proved that really nobody other than I think Keselowski will be safe in third and probably Kyle Busch. But outside of that, I mean, one mechanical failure and you're done.
Yep.
So, and there's no guarantee that. I mean, I'm sure somebody's going to have like a loose wheel or something like that, and lose a lap. And I don't know. I don't see anybody having a problem-free race again for the second week in a row.
Third week in a row.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Well, Kyle Busch, lost. I think he had to go for a pit road penalty at Chicagoland, but he was able to make it up with ease.
Yeah, it happened early enough. But I'm talking about you remember last year, Kevin Harvick got wrecked at Chicago, ran out of gas at Loudon.
He needed to win at Dover.
Yeah, a lot of people had pretty big incidents at one of those two tracks, not just going a lap down early, but wrecking or something like that. So
I don't recall. It wasn't that way in 2014. If it was really just people having shitty days, like Allmendinger and Almirola, who could have, if they had done well, they probably could have made it to the top 12.
Well, Kurt Busch had a tire go down at Loudon in 2014. That's why he was on the bubble.
And then he struggled at Dover the week after that.
Yeah.
Casey Kane, I think, got that 12th place spot, and he finished. And he barely got it, and he finished 20th at Dover, and he finished a lap down, like that.
Yeah.
But that again, 2014 was different in how much because everybody struggled at Loudon, and a few people got screwed over at Chicagoland.
Yeah. All right. Then
10th is Carl Edwards, 16 points ahead of the cutoff spots.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him have a blown tire or something like that. Probably one surprise. I don't know. I mean, I think that team needs to worry because they've kind of sucked for the past several weeks, really.
Well, they got the pole. They got the much-needed pole last week, and they got most of the race. I think they had that. He had that problem. I think he got the penalty on pit road because
on the second to last stop, I think.
Yeah, because they don't have a cone; they just have a little piece of orange tarp. Yeah. But he ran over it, so that still counts as going over the commitment line.
Yeah, well, I mean that was a driver error. So he has a really consistent habit of running top 10, top 5 for the first 90% of the race, and then.
But he made up for it by getting up to 6th, so I think he did show some speed.
Yeah, he was fast, but that team, I don't know, they just make so many mistakes, and Carl Edwards goes full retard in the last 20 laps most of the time. I don't know. I could definitely see him just causing a wreck at Dover and being out of it, which would be hilarious.
Again, I think Concrete Carl's got this one.
I don't know. Maybe.
Used to call him.
Maybe.
He runs very well at Dover. I mean, although most of his good runs at Dover came back when he ran in Xfinity.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know.
But his stats aren't that bad at Dover. 24 starts, one win back in the fall of 2007, eight top fives, and 12 top tens. So 50-50 shot at getting a top 10.
Yeah.
His average finish is 11.5. So even if he finishes outside the top 10, as long as he really finishes in the top 20, he's safe. Again, yeah. Like everybody else, it's all going to be about he needs a big air. It's either going to be mechanical or he's going to really have to make a couple of stupid pit road mistakes.
Which is entirely possible.
Yeah,
it's like his signature style.
Yeah. Next one is I'm a little disappointed he didn't build as big of a bubble as I wanted. Chase Elliott, 16 points ahead of the cutoff as well. I mean, what he got? I think he got shuffled back in the last couple of restarts. And I think he had a couple of bad pit stops, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they ran the first 3/4 of the race. I think they were like
third. They were like third.
Yeah, they were top 5 for a lot of the race, I think.
You get 13th.
He finished 13th. Yeah, I was actually really surprised at that too.
That was I. I mean, at least he didn't crash out like he did last time when he was in the top 10, but
yeah,
he seems to have that same problem. That might be a problem for him at New Hampshire. He's only got one start at Dover, and it was a third place. Like I said, it's a top 5 and a top 10, but that makes his average finish 3. It's the best out of the chasers, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I know. Attrition.
I think he'll be pretty good. I mean, that is one thing you have to remember is like all of the strongest cars wrecked out at the first Dover race this year. Just about all of them anyway. So
probably could have really took a shot away from Kyle Larson. If he wasn't battling him for second, Larson would have had a shot at Kenseth for that win in the spring.
Yeah. Well, if Larson just would have like wrecked Kenseth, then I would have been fine with that.
It's Kenseth. Could you really care if he gets hit?
Yeah. I mean, does Kenseth even have fans? Like, just take him out.
Well, he only got fans when he wrecked Logano.
Yeah, but I think they've kind of ditched him by now. You need him to wreck somebody else to gain their favor.
If he can wreck, maybe if he wrecks Stewart's just for the hell of it.
Oh, that'd be funny. Just like Tony Stewart's like a lap down, like fighting from like 1 point out of 12th, and Kenseth is like, running first, just wrecks him.
Just to if he'll get his fans back.
Man, that would be so funny.
He'd probably get a bunch of fans if he wrecked Kyle Busch, his own teammate.
Yeah, I would root for him if he did that. I'd go buy Matt Kenseth hat the next day.
I think I'm the same way.
Yeah.
So with Chase, but the thing is with Chase Elliott, his Xfinity stats are very good. He's pretty consistent. All 4 races, he's got 2 no wins, but he's got 2 top 5s, and all 4 of his races have ended up in the top 10. His average finish in Xfinity is 5.3. So I think we're getting an idea that maybe Dover is one of his best tracks. At least we can say that early on in his career. And I do, even though it's not the bubble I was hoping for, I was hoping he'd be up by 20, 25 points ahead of the cutoff spots. That at least, be a lot more secure, where you can probably have a mechanical problem but still make it in if you're above 25. That's at least the way that I see it. But I can take 16, and at least he's going to one of his best tracks. So I do expect Elliott to do very well, which I got to say, like, no one really expected Chase Elliott to do this well early on in the chase. I think everyone just expected him to struggle like he was before the chase started.
Yeah, he's doing all right. I mean, this is the easiest round, so you don't want to get too confident. But yeah, he is doing. He's run better. Or sorry, he's had more speed than his finishes indicate. I'll say that.
All right. In 8th place is Jimmy Johnson. 8th place finish at Loudon, kind of along the same lines. He was running in the top 5 early on in the race, if I'm not mistaken. Fell back to 8th, got shuffled back.
Yeah.
He didn't have any pit road penalties this time, did he?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't have a really like
He's
standout
showing
performance at New Hampshire. I think he was just all right.
he's showing that he's strong. Like, we all saw him struggling before the chase started. He's been a lot stronger in the first two chase races, just not enough to convince me that he can take on Gibbs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it's obviously his stats at Dover indicate something else. And oh, there's something. 29 starts, 10 wins. 10 wins. I think I'll try to list them all if I remember, because I like to list when the wins were. He swept 2002. He didn't. I think he won. I think the fall race of 2005. He won. He swept in 2009. Won the fall race of 2010. Spring of 2011. Fall of 2013, and then spring races of 2014 and 2015. And that's not even taking into consideration that he should have won the spring race of 2010. That was Kyle Busch won that one when Johnson had a speeding penalty on pit road, or it could have been a lug nut. No, I think it was speeding.
You could reason that way for like any driver.
I know he can. He should have had one in 2013 where he jumped the restart, and he lost one in 2011 when he lost to Kurt Busch on the final restart. Just one bad restart. So really, I mean, he should have 12 or 13 wins. Like the man dominates Dover every time.
Well, not the last time he really dominated though was 2014. In 2015 he just stayed out on a late caution, went from like fifth to first. And it was like a green white checker, so he just had to make it 2 laps. He hasn't really had the speed there that he used to have, but who knows? I mean,
He just doesn't need a mechanic, which surprised all of us last year. The mechanic
that was so hilarious. That was one of the funniest moments in like chase history.
No one could have expected that. Literally his best track.
Yeah,
and he fucks it up there. Oh, and guess what? He's dealing. He also crashed out earlier this year. The last 2 races from Dover have.
Yeah, this year he caused that wreck.
Yeah.
So just need him to repeat. Make the race a lot more interesting.
Three bad Dover wrecks in a row. Or 3 bad Dover races in a row. He didn't wreck. He had I forgot what his mechanical issue was, by the way. I think something.
I don't remember what it was.
I think it had maybe he screwed. Oh my god. Something with the suspension, if I'm not mistaken. Something broke. I have to look it up. 15 top 5s and 20 top 10s. So 20 for 29 in terms of getting a top 10 at Dover. His average finish, oh boy, 9.6. Only driver who's had more than 20 starts at Dover to have an average finish of under 10.
Yep. I say the safe money is on the top 5 for him.
And then we'll wait for him to crash at Dega, and then he'll.
Yeah, probably he's going to wreck at Kansas like he has the last. Well, I don't know if he wrecked there last year, but
he wrecked there in 2014. He almost wrecked himself out in 2012. They were lucky that the damage wasn't too severe.
Yeah.
Struggles at Kansas, struggles at Dega. He doesn't have the same dominance at Charlotte that he used to have, and just kind of. And then he'll win Texas, and he'll just spoil someone else's chase hopes.
I'm fine with that happening, really.
Yeah, spoil it.
When that happens.
Spoil it for Keselowski at Texas for the 3rd year.
Well, Keselowski choked. Like, that was led like 380 laps, and then like with the restart with like 10 to go, just chokes. It wasn't that many laps. It was like 280. I don't remember how long that race was.
He led like 312.
Yeah, he led like quite literally like all but like what Jimmy Johnson led, pretty much. That was too funny. I don't know how you choke that bad.
I was actually a little disappointed. I thought Keselowski was would have been weak at Homestead. I wouldn't have minded seeing him fight out Gordon for the last race at Homestead. I thought that would make it more fun, if anything.
Well, Brian France had other ideas.
Yeah.
Water bottle on the track. Got to throw a caution.
Uh, all right. And so in seventh, did not do. I mean, I predicted him to win at Loudon because he had the best stats at Loudon. Denny Hamlin, 15th. Never. But he had the problem of the uncontrolled tire, which
Yeah.
I can't believe I always forget this. Like that team always has an uncontrolled tire. Like there's always that one specific penalty that like a team will commit. He can never control the tire, whereas Johnson, like on several occasions, has done that. They keep doing the sneaky body modifications.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Kyle Busch is speeding on pit road.
Oh yeah. It's always fun to listen to the radio broadcast afterward. Like they have to keep telling him, "Hey, buddy, we had an uncontrolled tire." You kidding me? Always
Yeah.
have to hear him complain.
Yeah, they're barring a disaster, they'll be fine. I mean, that's the thing. Like this, it's not quite as close as it was last year because like Kurt Busch is 15 points ahead in 11th, and everybody else is a lot more, or more than that. So it's really only going to be close between like Larson through Austin Dillon.
Yeah.
Like last year, it was a whole bunch of people ran the risk of getting eliminated just from poor finishes, not even from wrecks. So I think Denny Hamlin will be fine.
He's 19 points ahead, just one ahead
Yeah.
of Jimmy Johnson, who's 18. I don't think I mentioned that Johnson was 18 points ahead of the bubble. But Hamlin, like the thing with him is Dover is one of his worst tracks. 21 starts, no wins, which I mean a lot of drivers. Was it had the Chasers? Eight of the 16 have at least one win at Dover. It's kind of like New Hampshire, the track with many masters, I guess people call it. But
yeah, he
yeah,
probably wrecked out in the spring race. I don't
he
really
wrecks a lot. He wrecks so many times at Dover. For only 4 top 5s and only 7 top 10s. That's in 21 starts. His average finish is 18.6. And that's because when he's wrecking, he's finishing he's not even finishing in the 30s. He's usually finishing in the 40s, like 42nd, 43rd.
Yeah.
Of course, now it's only a 40-car field, but still. And I'm just going to wait for him to get back. All right, just waiting for him to get back. Hopefully, nothing happened to his router. Okay, so it says somehow it's not working. Uh,
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it on my phone. Sorry about that.
yeah, there you are. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it said I had to install a new plugin when I
Yeah, it
tried to
does that all the
rejoin, and
time. But why would it
so
shut off all of a sudden? Yeah, fucking
okay,
Google. I don't know what the deal is.
yeah, that was odd.
I think I ended with like before you cut out. I was talking about how like Dover really is one of Hamlin's worst tracks, and how he sometimes finishes like in the 40s a lot, like
Yeah.
42nd, 43rd. Just want to know if you had any comment on that.
Well, I was saying, like over the past 2 years, he's managed to win at tracks that historically he's kind of sucked at.
Like
So yeah,
Chicagoland,
Chicago, Watkins Glen.
Daytona.
I don't know about I mean, Daytona's.
He does
We didn't
good in the
count that.
he does good in the shootout, but he doesn't do good in the
Yeah,
Pocono or the Daytona
he
500.
almost won Sonoma, where he really sucks at. So it wouldn't surprise me to see him like suddenly have something at Dover. I don't think he'll win, but I think he could pretty easily be a top 5 contender.
All right, moving up to sixth, 21 points ahead of the bubble. Joey Logano, who I think he fell a lap down early in the race at Loudon, but
Yeah,
then made his way back up.
yeah, they were pretty slow.
Finished 11th.
It, that wasn't even really any misfortune on their part. They just did not have the speed to stay on the lead lap.
But they got their lap back eventually.
Yeah, took most
Like,
of the race.
it kind of shows like where he's at right now. If he's, I mean, that's a track he had done pretty well at up until that point.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised, honestly. I thought they were
Oh,
going to be a lot quicker than that.
maybe I don't know. Joey Logano's one guy I want to see just fail right now. Tumble
But I
back.
mean, at this rate, if he makes it through this round, I don't think he's going to make it through the next round.
He's gonna
They're
tumble.
not quick enough.
He's gonna tumble like he did in 2009. Roll
Maybe.
over. Be nice to see.
Yeah, and be just like an interesting change of scenery, I guess, for Dover, which
Oh yeah,
historically, well, I already said how much I hate Dover, so just leave it at that.
yeah. Dover's well, he's actually, but his numbers are actually pretty good. 15 starts, although he's got no wins, 3 top 5s and 8 top 10s. So more than I mean, 15 starts doesn't really tell you much. Really, you don't really get a good understanding of how well a driver does at a track until he's raced there about 20 times, maybe even 25.
I don't know. I think depending on like what teams they've been a part of, like Logano's, I don't know, he's run much different at Penske than he did at Joe Gibbs. So I wouldn't necessarily hold his starts with Gibbs against him. But yeah, I think 15 would be enough to have an indication
Yeah,
with
and
most people.
he's got an average finish of 14.6, which is actually pretty good compared to a lot of these other drivers.
Yeah, I can't remember where he probably wrecked out in the spring race. So I don't. It's hard to like gauge his speed from that race and use it to predict this one. I don't think he's going to run that well, to be honest. But he doesn't need to.
But he can probably get into the elimination 8. That's what I predict.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, all right, next is fifth. We already talked about him, Matt Kenseth. I mean,
Yeah,
at
New
Loudon,
Hampshire choke
I
artist
yep,
extraordinaire.
thought he had it. I really thought he had it. He was having great restarts really on the outside up until the end right there.
Yeah, he gave that away. There's really no way around it. Like he had the outside lane. He had the fastest or the second fastest car, and just I don't know what he was doing. He just let Harvick get way too much of a run on him going into the restart box, and yeah, I was pretty surprised at that.
Didn't really fight back aggressively.
No.
I would have expected Ken's. Then again, I wouldn't really want to play. I mean, if you're racing for the lead, probably a smart idea not to go after Harvick. Don't
Yeah,
want to piss him off too soon.
well, I don't know. I wouldn't worry about pissing off Harvick, but I guess he probably just didn't want to wreck himself at that point. I don't know. I mean, he was pretty safe anyway. It's not like he didn't need to win, and he's certainly very safe now.
26 points ahead of the cutoff. It's about, again, like he's at the point now where you can crash and still have a pretty good shot at making it.
Yeah. And he obviously won the Dover race earlier, so.
Yeah, he's got 3 wins at Dover. He's always run well at Dover, actually. I'd have to the three wins at Dover. He had one in 2006, 2011 spring race, and
then this year.
And this year. Pretty much wins there every 5 years.
I guess we don't have to worry about him then.
Yeah. I would expect him to run the top 10.
Yeah, definitely.
35 starts, 3 wins, 16 top 5s, and 23 top 10s. 23 for 35 on the top 10s. Average finish 13.0.
Yes, that's actually a good record.
Very good record. Yes. Next one in 4th is Kyle Busch. I know, don't want to hear that name, but gotta do it anyway. 3rd place finish at Loudon, which again kind of surprised me. I think he was really running sort of near the tail end of the top 10 for the most part. Or
yeah, he got new tires though on I think the penultimate caution, and that helped him out a lot.
I think he did really good on the last restart though, didn't he, to put himself into 3rd?
Well, I think it was the one before that. He was like 10th or something, but he was the first car on new tires, so he made up a lot of ground in about 5 or 6 laps, and then had some cautions come out and worked his way forward with that. Yeah.
33 points ahead of the cutoff spot. That's about
yeah, that's,
you can pretty much say like you can at that point you can say we're like 99% sure he's got this.
Yeah, but that 1% chance would be just amazing. I would be like naked in the streets dancing if he gets eliminated at Dover.
Kind of like at Talladega. We all thought
that was great. Fucking Austin Dillon like takes him out at the very back of the pack, like under caution. Well, not quite under caution, but I mean, well out of the danger zone. That was brilliant. Yeah, I'd love to see something like that happen at Dover. That'd make this season pretty amazing.
Yeah. What was even more amazing with that Talladega race back in 2014, even though he came back on the track, like back in 40th place, he still had a shot to like make up those positions.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I know, it's like you can have a guy like 60 laps down coming out of the garage, still fight for a spot in the next round at Talladega. That's what makes Talladega. That's how why I really like how it always ends at Talladega for the contender round. You have all that unpredictability.
Yeah.
His Dover record's pretty impressive. 23 starts, 2 wins, 5 top 10s, 10 top 5s, 14 top 10s. His average finish, however, is 15.3, and he has the same problem Hamlin does. He's had a lot of mechanical issues at Dover. So sometimes he finishes like in the late 30s, sometimes even early 40s. Or low 40s. Sorry, high 30s, low 40s. Why did I say early and late?
I don't know. Yeah, let's see. I think he wrecked in the race earlier this year.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, but he was pretty. I think he had like a top 5 car at the time, so I would imagine the same thing would happen here. Yeah, but he's pretty much safe unless he just like wrecks on lap 1 and never gets out of the garage.
Yeah, he had His two wins, I think, were the spring races of 2008 and 2010, and that one with 2010 was where Jimmy Johnson had a pit road penalty, especially when Johnson was dominating the whole race up until that point.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to see. Yeah, again, it's fun to see Jimmy Johnson fail at Dover because it's fun to see someone really fail at a track they're expected to dominate.
Well, as long as it's somebody you hate, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Jimmy Johnson, so no point in trying to pretend it.
Yeah.
All right, and third is Keselowski, 35 points ahead. Again, instead of more like 99, it's like 99.7, 99.8%. But again, I don't like Keselowski, kind of hate him, so it'd be awesome. Again, come on, point at 0.2%. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. I think he's finished second in the past two fall races at Dover, also.
And he's won, and yeah, he has one win. It was on fuel efficiency though, but it was in 2012.
Yeah, so he's not bad there at all, really, or lately anyway.
He's the only guy I think right now Keselowski ran pretty consistent all day. He got fourth at Loudon. I think he's the only guy in the chase right now. Yeah, only guy in the chase right now to finish in the top 5 for the first 2 races.
Yeah.
Which explains why he's 35 points ahead of the bubble.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine though. Even if he does wreck, I mean, 35 points is so much.
Yeah, and it's not even a 43 car field anymore. It's a 40 car field. That actually works even more to his advantage.
Yeah, I mean, he's still likely to get 5 spots.
Yeah, well, like I said,
way. So
big crash early in the race.
No, I mean, I'm hoping for it too. Don't get me wrong.
I know.
I'd love to see like 3/4 of the field wreck and Larson skate through.
Yeah, like 40th place finish, and maybe Jamie McMurray can have like a finish in the top 3, and that does it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fucking awesome. Like all of like the underdogs squeak through because of a wreck, and a lot of big names just miss out.
Like I said, if it's going to happen, it's probably either going to happen very early in the race or very late in the race. It's not going to happen in the middle.
Yeah.
I think his whole stats are 13 at Dover, or for Keselowski, 13 starts, 1 win, 2012, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s, average finish 12.8. 12.8, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think. I don't know what else there's to say about him at this point.
And then, of course, the last 2 will be the guys who are automatically in with their wins, but we'll still talk about them anyway. I mean, we've already discussed Harvick. Just got lucky, I guess. Just needed Kenseth to choke.
Oh, he was fast, though. I mean, he worked his way up through the field. I think he started like 19th or something.
Which is impressive because Loudon's hard to pass.
Yeah, so he was definitely quick. And yeah, I mean, Kenseth did give that one to him. There's really like no reason he should have won it, but whatever, good for him, I guess. And then of course going to Dover, it was like ever since he joined Stewart-Haas, he has been the fastest car at Dover every time, but just doesn't have the luck to go with it.
Defending winner of the race. That's actually his only win at Dover. 31 starts, 1 win last year's fall race. Only 5 top 5s and only 14 top 10s. Average finish 14.3.
Yeah.
But I expect him to probably get either a first or a second.
Really?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I think I'll call it for Harvick. That's the guy who because I mean I've been wrong the first 2 times pretty wildly. I picked Kenseth for Chicagoland and Hamlin for Loudon, but I think this week I'm pretty comfortable with Harvick.
Yeah, for Dover.
Yeah, who do you got for Dover?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say Larson. He actually has a shot, but I don't know if he'll win it. I think winning it, I don't know. I could see Chase Elliott winning it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Elliott's going to get a top 10. I don't see him winning it. You know, at this time, Gustafson's, going on a Gustafson team, he's a little more conservative. He doesn't want to make too many risks.
Yeah. Well, you may not have to, though. I mean, they've been pretty fast recently, so we'll see.
Oh, and this one's going to be a Gordon race, so.
Oh, yeah.
Gordon's
in the 8, that's right.
Yeah,
well, that's who I'm picking to win.
Yeah. Well, Gordon, outside of Gordon. Now, I think this could be his chance to finally get a top 10 in 2016. It's been really disappointing.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is probably one. I wouldn't be surprised if he won Martinsville. Because those are his last 2 races. I'll say it. I hope. If you ask me now, I would predict him for a Martinsville win just because it's Martinsville.
Yeah, maybe. Although Greg Ives is like one of the dumbest crew chiefs in NASCAR at this point, so they'll find a way to lose it. Yeah. So many things have gone wrong since Greg Ives has been the crew chief of the 88 that it's just comical. Like Gordon's seatbelt coming undone, Junior's shifters broke in some races last year. It's like stuff that should never happen happens to them all the time. So
not exactly the best at building.
Yeah, race like they've qualified like 25th all year long in a Hendrick car, despite having top 5 speeds in practice, and they show up for qualifying and it's like they're half a second off. So, yep.
He's better crew chief than Lance McGrew.
Well, yeah. It isn't saying much.
Took a while. It really took a while for Hendrick to throw him under the bus.
Oh man,
that guy was still allowed to be Mark Martin's crew chief for the last couple of years. What was he thinking?
Yeah, that's funny. All right. We got Truex.
Yeah.
Remaining.
Truex last, and you picked him to win Loudon. Probably would have had it.
He almost did too. He actually stood the best shot of probably anybody until
before he faded away really towards the end of the race.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the restart wasn't kind to him.
Yeah,
which is his fault, but still.
But
he had him and Kenseth for the 2 fastest cars.
Had a top 3 car. Probably should have finished in the top 3.
Yeah,
I think he led the most laps too.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
Shows the power of Toyota.
Yeah, and he was also probably the fastest car at Dover earlier this year. He got wrecked, but he was really quick there. So I don't see any reason why that's not going to happen again.
Yeah. Truex, 21 starts, 1 win, 2007. That was his only win in NASCAR until he finally won again at Sonoma in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
For a while, we all thought that was going to be his one-hit wonder, the Dover win of 2007.
Yeah.
Got that one with DEI and the 1 car. That's also his only, believe it or not, that's his only top 5 finish at Dover. He's got 10 top 10s. Average finish is 14.7. But this is the only chase track where he's going into where he actually has a previous win at. So,
yeah. Well, ever since he joined, maybe not 2014, but 2015 and this year, he's been very strong there.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Because he's been historically a weak driver, but just because it's this year and it's just a year where it's that special year where he will run above most other drivers, especially the elite ones.
He's led the most laps of anybody this season.
I know, and that's the thing. You just throw all his previous stats away. It's like even can show up all these tracks where his average finish is, under 15. It's higher than 15. It doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah.
That's why going over the stats for Truex is kind of meaningless, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that was the same day Bill France Jr. died, if I remember correctly. He won that race.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember it. Damn, it'd be pretty sad if he was still around to know how much his son was really fucking up everything he built.
Yeah, I was about to say, maybe Brian France will die this week. I
Boy,
mean,
that's
NASCAR fans everywhere could celebrate.
that's the sad thing. Like, if you could ever talk to Brian France, you just say to him, "Look, like, how are you your dad's? How are you your father's son?" I'm just hope. I am just hoping that whoever Brian France's mother is, that she was having an affair at the time, and it's somebody else. Because God, like Bill France Jr., like the genius who completely built the sport to what it is today. Like there's,
Well, to what it was in like 2004 or
yeah,
2003.
to what it was, yeah. Like it at least give us a little. I don't know. I mean, it'd be sad to learn if that's what happened, but it would at least make sense of a lot of things. It really would.
Yeah.
How in the you just tell Brian? Yeah, just go up to Brian France and just kind of tell him that. Like, how are you your father's son? How are you your
Well,
father's
like my fantasy ever since Kyle Busch like started doing well at the beginning of the season was to see Kyle Busch get eliminated at Dover and kill Brian France in like a blind rage after the race, and then the chase format be like completely repealed, go back to a point system. That was like my wet dream of a 2016 season.
See, just waiting for Brian France to make another stupid call for. Is there any new rule changes for 2017 that are just going to be insane or?
Not yet, but I'm sure they're coming.
I mean, okay, like France made a couple of good decisions with the restart line, like for the green white checkered. I thought that was at least that'll prevent another Talladega. Hopefully, it at least does something.
Yeah,
but,
I don't like how it doesn't extend.
Yeah,
like it doesn't even have to make it to the white flag now, though. You just have to make it to the backstretch, which is like that's how they've enforced it. I'm not even really even sure what the hell that rule is, but now it seems like you just have to make it to the backstretch on the first attempt, and then you're good.
Yeah, like I said, it's to stop another.
Well, they should have just like gone. I don't know. I mean, you'd have to. They were idiots. Like they didn't really need to change anything other than not be retarded at Talladega, and yet they still did it.
I don't know. There's a part of me that likes the rule. I don't know what it is.
Well, I'm fine with the like the old rule. I don't like cautions coming out like on the first attempt. Like setting the race. Like they should have just gone back to the old way where it was just. It used to be. What 3 try or I don't know. Maybe
3 tries. Yeah, that was.
Was it always 3 tries?
No, that rule didn't come in. I think until 2010.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just like I said, just wait a while, man. Eventually, the caution clock's going to come to Xfinity, and before you know it, you'll see the caution clock in Sprint Cup. I think that'll be the moment where like there'll be a huge
like
NASCAR.
Yeah. Once like green white checkers have like mandatory quadruple file restarts. All the tracks, it's going to be terrible.
Just waiting for them to.
Yeah, like the drivers are going to have to like, race on foot from their trailers to the cars at the start of the race. They're going to blow a whistle. They're going to all take off.
Yeah, and then there'll be a new component like where it's how fast the crew can buckle him in safely, and then fuck, like why not? Let's just don't even do a rolling start anymore. Just
it's like as soon as they get to the car, in the pit lane, they just take off.
Or just start it off like Formula One, once you get the green lights.
To be honest, that at like maybe Indianapolis, that'd be kind of cool to see, but everywhere else would be kind of stupid.
I don't know.
Indianapolis is the only track it makes sense, just because they actually have the grid spots painted on.
Oh, but yeah, and then but they have to go backward. They'd have to. Maybe we can do a track where you turn to the right.
Yeah, that'll be Brian.
That'll be Brian France's next idea.
I'd actually be in favor of that. Like, make all the races that are visited twice run backwards the second time. Just it'd make Michigan so much better, and Dover, and Kansas.
I'm not sure.
The pit road would be kind of odd.
But the banking really wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I'm not sure the drivers could really adapt to that. Most of these drivers are used to going.
I think they could. I think I don't think it'd be that hard, except for like Danica, who would probably still turn left and crash into the wall. But
Brian Scott will fail it too.
yeah, Brian Scott too.
Just waiting for Brian Scott to get dumped.
Freaking like Greg Eyes would accidentally load their like left turn setup into the 88 car. Oh man.
Car will hit the.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty much it for Dover. And it'll probably be a lot shorter now, thankfully, now that it'll be down to 12.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about Chris Buescher anymore.
No more talking about Buescher. Hopefully no more talking about – I really hope I don't have to talk about Austin Dillon anymore.
Yeah. All right.
Cutting the broadcast.